and changes potentially. Nameless game fuel keys to victory for Minnesota. Røkkr first. So any changes for these guys?
I mean, it's just they need to keep on doing what they're doing, but Guerrillas and Alex have to continue to fry. They're finding success when those two are being their superstars. We're seeing Guerrillas just consistently take over games. He's one of the best players in the game. It's undeniable at this point. And then Alex, that potential to just go off in the respawns and apply that pressure. It's just a great balance when you have players like Silly who will just go fill in those gaps, a player like Assault who will play slow with that AR, and Asim who will just bait himself for the rest of the squad. They have the perfect team for Modern Warfare, and they're extremely consistent.
Now, if you're wondering who they're playing, it's OpTic Gaming. Yeah, that's right. OGLA, game fuel keys to victory, Nameless. What do these guys have to do to maybe seal the deal in the best fashion, not game 5?
Well, you know, they got pretty excited after their last victory. They choked the first 2 maps, so they definitely need to start a little bit stronger. They need to learn how to close out those games, but you know, where they found success was TJ started to fry. He started to get back to the TJ of old where he was just dominating. We saw him put up a, you know, a double positive performance, and that's what we were waiting for out of TJ. He has potential to be as good as the Simps of the world, the Abizis. We've seen TJ take over games and be that best SMG in the world, so he needs to continue to play like that, and if he does that, they'll be fine.
Indeed. We're going to take a quick peek right now at the quick scope presented by the US Air Force. Look at this team's head-to-head and see exactly what they're bringing to the table across the board here with this stat. So I want to talk to you, Momo, right now, because OpTic Gaming, really the first kind of positive thing we've seen coming out of these guys, we have a little bit to talk about.
Yeah, we do, and I think these numbers, yeah, they're a little bit one-sided, but they're not too kind of different. But the one thing that I will say is for OpTic Gaming, for me, for these guys to beat Røkkr, they need to play better than they did against Guerrillas. What they did against Guerrillas, great. Reverse sweep, won 3 back-to-back. They need to take that momentum and run with it, get even better, pick up more kills, because I think Røkkr are a team which really can not only beat you, but they can beat you bad, and they can knock that confidence that they've just got straight out of you.
They can indeed. We've seen them really knock the confidence of many good teams here so far this season, and I think that's actually what they're really, really good at doing. So to take a team that are kind of struggling as well, struggling internally too, and to try and shake them up a bit, I think this is the team to do it. So I'm hoping OpTic Gaming have a little bit more resistance and resilience as well to try and take this one off the bat, but we'll have to wait and see, gents. We're going to head over right now to Benson and Chance to get this one underway.
Thank you so much, Lottie. Thank you to the guys on the desk as well. Excited for this, the second to last series of the day here in Los Angeles. And in terms of our predictions, Chance, I think we're both going to be similar, and it's probably going to upset the home crowd as well.
Yeah, no, Minnesota is expected to win the series. They've been the better team on the year. They looked better today. They have a lot of things going for them. The series layout is in their favor. I will say, so far, this has been one of like the most predictable tournaments I think we've ever had. Like all 4 teams that made a change immediately lost their first match, and I think even so far what we've seen after that just kind of makes sense. So far so good. Minnesota just have to keep the foot on the gas.
Of course, here's a look at the Minnesota Røkkr starting lineup for this match and for the majority this tournament as well. GodRx, Silly, Assault, Alex, and Asim. You have to keep your eyes out on GodRx and Alex. In the series we casted these guys earlier on, Chance, I mean, they were just the duo. Lights out, unbelievable performance.
Electric, but I will say, just to give credit to the full roster, a well-oiled machine. Whoever designed it had they had a core concept in mind right from the get-go. They knew what kind of team they wanted to build, and it's impressive. Like, we've seen a lot of these teams that even if they have more talent, and OpTic might be the perfect example of they've started to crumble despite the talent. It's the hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard type deal.
Of course, the big question is how long will this be the OpTic Gaming starting roster? Dashi, TJ, Slasher, Quavo, formerly known as Kenny, and of course, JCap. You have to feel poor performance here, and well, you might not see those 5 playing together.
At the same time, though, it was mentioned on like the dinner with talent or whatever we're calling that little series we did. There was a lot of conversation about like what will it take OpTic to stick together. It's a good event here. I mean, obviously a lot of Call of Duty left to play, but they did get a win on their first series. They're finally on the board. They get the first one under the belt, and maybe if they get the ball rolling, like if they come and take down Minnesota, then it's like, maybe don't make a change. Like, holy hell, you guys are finally legit.
Of course, they didn't make a team change, but they did make a change to certain roles within the team, which I'm sure we'll talk about as the game gets underway. But before there, I want to take a look at our maps and modes. Chance, you kind of hinted at it a little bit. This series is definitely weighted one way, and it's the way of Minnesota Røkkr.
Oh dear. I mean, on these 5 maps for OpTic, they have 1 win on Rammaza Hardpoint, and that's it. Like, in order, starting from Azhir Cave, 0-3, 0-1, 0-2, the nice little 1-0 on Rammaza, and then if we go to a game 5, 0-1. And of course, on the flip side for Minnesota, you can imagine.
That sounds so bad.
A little bit better.
Sure.
You know, just a little bit. Not overwhelmingly dominant, but still pretty good just across the board. And immediately on Cave, it's a 2-1 record against an 0-3. And it's just another one of those maps where if you're just looking at the kills, it's GodRx and Alex. They just haven't, they've been feasting.
Yeah.
They've been freak of natures. They've been incredible, like, so far this year. And I just don't expect them to slow down. Not anytime soon. Not until they play, like, a FaZe.
Well, we'll wait and see. Can OpTic Gaming turn things around here in LA? A lot of pressure on their shoulders. And of course, for Minnesota Røkkr, the storyline really starting to develop is, well, can they actually win an event? Can they win here in LA? We've been so impressed with them every single time we've seen them play. And here, of course, is a quick glance at how our bracket is starting to develop. Of course, we shoot back now topside to Group A for the final few games. Røkkr versus OG LA. And of course, Surge versus Guerrillas later on.
And I will say the one thing for this series, though, like, obviously the map records for OpTic aren't going to look great. They didn't get their first series win until earlier today. And it's worth pointing out, like, statistically, TJ has been horrible, JCap has been horrible, at least throughout the year.
It's just
but already today, like TJ especially has kicked it up another notch. We have seen moments of brilliance, not only out of him, but JCap as well. Has had certain games, like the best game we've seen from JCap on the year has been on Rammaza hardpoint. That's the one hardpoint that they actually have a win on in this series. So still a lot of Call of Duty left to be played, but that just means they have to keep the ball rolling.
But they also have to get to that Rammaza hardpoint, which will, of course, be a Game 4. So we'll have to see them take at least one of the first 3 maps to force that Game 4. And more importantly as well, something that I know a couple guys have touched on, we heard the Dash touch on it as well, just a role swap from OpTic Gaming. Now, of course, Dashy himself kind of said, yeah, you know, at this point, we just have to try it, right? I have to run a sub. We got no options left.
It was kind of funny, too, because, like, I was, like, thinking of that, and I saw the map set, and I was like, oh, okay, first thing, that's actually one of the maps. You can run the double AR setup. You don't actually have to have Dash to make that change. And I was like, I wonder what their record is. 0-3. Ooh. So that's not really a game changer. You're comfortable on the map. You haven't won yet. Not an ideal situation, Ben.
Definitely not. Definitely not. Although I will say, I think just watching Slasher play throughout the day in this first series, he looked much more at home, permanently running that AR role for the team. Definitely putting up some good numbers and some good performances as well. But as we said, it really is all eyes on this OpTic Gaming LA team. A good result here would be incredible for them. Put themselves straight away into Sunday, and it would be just a big sigh of relief, I'm sure, on all 5 of those players.
Get a bunch of points on the board, get a lot of confidence, not even a little bit. Like,
you'd have tons.
Quite a bit.
If you beat Minnesota Røkkr, you're feeling real good.
Feeling great. I mean, so the argument right now for OpTic, like when the ball is in their court, they're just going to make the point of, yes, we've had a bunch of losses already. We're only losing to the best teams. It's literally like the team, like the top 4 teams in order are the 4 losses that OpTic had coming in today. In my mind, coming into the tournament, I was actually kind of expecting them to look quite a bit better. And then the Guerrillas series happened where they had the 80-point lead, blew that. The 5-2 lead, blew that. And they did pull the reverse sweep. So credit where credit is due, but going into a game against Minnesota, they would have had to have blown the Guerrillas out of the water for me to have confidence. So we're not expecting great things from this OpTic Gaming team in this series, but that means that they get the opportunity to prove us wrong then.
They definitely do. Sorry, LA. We're just being honest. Just being honest. I think Minnesota have earned that right from what we've seen so far to come in as the overwhelming favorites into this series. But again, OpTic Gaming LA could turn things around massively here and maybe go on a big run home in LA. Game paused currently, so we'll wait to get into game number 1.
And I think really realistically what it's going to take from the side of OpTic is they're not going to be the better team from Minnesota. They're definitely not there yet. That just means the players are going to have to completely take over the map. Someone's going to have to go kind of God tier. And of course, we get to take a look at the nice little
give me some drawings. Give me some drawings.
I mean, what do you want me to draw, Ben?
To you, what's the most important rotation on Azhir Cave? What are the power positions that you need to see teams hold?
God, I mean, in my mind, it's not even necessarily rotations. It's like a chain of hills that you're going to want to have together, Ben. Like, you talk about the 1 and 2, obvious, like, you could draw arrows everywhere. I have too many options of where you want to draw.
We gave you this fancy technology, you're not even using it.
I mean, generally, obviously, like on the number 2 hill, you just want to be in the back. You want the back spawns, it makes your job easier. On the number 3 hill, you want to control this side just to make the rotation over the 4 hill easier and you get the back. But it's all about just the chain of events that you can put together. It's not... So many hills can be money hills in this game that it's just about a consistency thing. Like, I think the stat JP went and threw out for us is it's what? The league average is the team that loses the rotation only gets the break 18% of the time. So, like, if you're not winning the rotation battle, you got a 1 in 5 chance of, like, doing some damage to break through the hill. It's just tough. Like, every hill, especially on Azhir Cave, is so important.
Definitely is. Of course, as you pointed out, that spawn on the furthest right part of that map. So important. You want to make sure you flip spawns if you spawn on the bad side, which Minnesota Røkkr have done. Now, there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can plow straight through the hill, try and assert your dominance early, or a cheeky little flank through cave. Doesn't sometimes go amiss. Has been known to work every now and then. But game one underway in the series. Azhir Cave, and we're starting things off on board with Dashy, who obviously we mentioned a little bit of a switch in terms of the weapon he's running, but on Azhir Cave, 2 ARs definitely works, and Dashy will be rocking that this game.
And I will say, obviously, the double AR setup going to be coming in from OpTic. This is a map Minnesota very often likes to run 3 M4s on as well. I think that's what they're doing, at least off the rip. Just something to keep in mind, maybe an extra assault rifle in the hands of the Røkkr.
Well, so far, so good for OpTic Gaming LA. Not necessarily in terms of points, but in terms of controlling the map and controlling the spawns. For now, they really don't mind Minnesota's small 13-point lead as TJ pushes forward towards the hill. Can he get the first few ticks of time for OpTic? No, he can't. He will fall. It's down to Quavo to try and turn things around. He's not going to have much success. Now, minimap is huge here. Keep your eyes on number 6. That's Azhir. He also just got Dead Silence. This is a huge flank. OpTic Gaming LA, how you've allowed this to happen, honestly, I'm not quite sure. Number 2, TJ should know that just from where he spawned.
Well, they're going to start potentially looking for him. The player's spawning up, but they have no idea. OpTic has not really turned around. They're starting to mosey on towards this new hill, but Azhir's going to be the guy potentially to do some damage. Of course, assault through the front. Going to get chopped down. It's all action on Azhir in the back, who you see in the feed. JCap does hunt him down, and OpTic able to stabilize.
You can breathe a big sigh of relief if you're an OpTic Gaming LA fan, because that could have got scary to start already. Minnesota Røkkr with the advantage, 41 points to 12, but OpTic with hill control and still spawn control. Unfortunately, though, it's Silly just flying straight towards the hill. He shuts down Dashy. Slasher falls as well. And Silly's not quite done just yet. There's number 3. JCap falls as well.
And the key right now for Silly, he's being calm, he's being patient, and he's dying to grenades. But of course, him getting all those kills allows the team to get forward, which, well, you can say credit where credit is due for the Røkkr. They do a little bit of damage mitigation. They chip away at just some of the time. But again, it's incredibly difficult to break through the hill. So OpTic Gaming, well, will basically tie this game up going into the 3rd hill.
Final 10 seconds of scrap is good for OpTic Gaming. Now the question is, can you win the fights on rotation? I mean, you highlighted TJ earlier on for improving his performances. It's an 8-5 start, 9-5. Make that 10-5. Almost found 4. Azhir finally shuts him down, but TJ doing the work on that rotation.
And it's beautiful. TJ, just with a little clip like that, just kind of throws the team on his back and makes sure OpTic can genuinely win the rotation and be the first team into new. And those are the hills that, if you're able to chain them together, that's where things start to go well. And now Dashy inside the hill until, well, Quavo takes him down.
This is where it's important for OpTic Gaming LA, though. Not only do you want hill control, you want to push through. You want to put pressure on Minnesota's side of the map. Get ready for the new hill to pop in about 30 seconds time. Still, Minnesota find themselves inside the hill. TJ looking to find the kill, unsuccessfully though. Chili stays up, earning the time for Minnesota. 55-55, tied game. Minnesota taking the lead.
And already Minnesota doing a nice job of kind of watching the middle of the map. But right now the kills straight up just back and forth. Minnesota looks like they'll be good to stabilize the final 10 seconds for the rotation. You see OpTic Gaming, they got 3 members inside the new hill. They don't have a ton of pressure on the back, but they might not need it if they got the guns ready to go.
And I was going to say, this is a good push from OpTic Gaming. They get hill control, but they weren't able to push through. And the problem is, a big pinch could start to develop here for Minnesota. One player, I believe that's JCap, actually gets a pretty blessed spawn where he's going to see that pinch come through and should be able to find at least 1 kill. Does so. Good job from him. Meanwhile, on the hill, Dashy looks back over towards the backside. The spawn from Minnesota still coming in close to the hill. However, doesn't really matter if you're OpTic Gaming right now. You're still getting the time.
And it's great plays from OpTic as well. That positioning from JCap all the way in the back is going to force Minnesota. Like you already see Silly. There's 35 seconds left on the hill, and he is going for the full OE. So while he's doing that, OpTic Gaming are saying, hey, we'll take the advantage in the hill. We'll start to rack up quite a bit of time.
TJ, I think it just spawned directly behind him, so that rotation may not even matter. And TJ could find another kill if Azhir isn't careful. He might get shot in the back as well. So a fantastic hold from OpTic Gaming, and a good rotation could come through as well. It's on Azhir to stay alive at the back of the map over towards Sandbags, and unfortunately for him, Slasher hunts him down. So OpTic Gaming chaining a couple of hills together, they could earn themselves quite a sizable lead.
That moment when squad spawning picks the wrong squad to spawn on top of, but either way, now it's going to be Minnesota trying to take their way around back. Silly only able to take down 1, and OpTic Gaming again, they've had quite a few good rotations. The only hill they've really done a poor job on was the first one.
I mean, we've been hyping up Alex quite a lot throughout today. There's a double kill for for him. It's a slow start though, double negative, 8 and 16. Not quite like the superstar he has been for the Minnesota Røkkr. And OpTic Gaming still with full control. This is a good-looking first rotation from OpTic LA. Very impressive stuff. Still 25 seconds of hill time, which, if I'm honest, gents, looks like it could be good for them. And bear in mind, this is still the spawn you want to hold for the new rotation when it pops.
I was going to say, OpTic are doing a very solid job of setting themselves up long-term. GodRx, though, a little bit of pressure towards the hill. He gets cut down immediately. There have been moments where Minnesota is chipped away. An extra few seconds here, an extra few seconds there. But every rotation, this is now 4 hills in a row where OpTic Gaming have had the advantage over the Røkkr. This is as good as you could possibly ask for after the first set of rotations are in.
It's fantastic stuff from OpTic Gaming. It definitely is. Minnesota will have the early time as we go into our second rotation of hills. But again, advantage OpTic Gaming in terms of bigger picture, holding that spawn. If you remember, though, in the first rotation, it was a seam that snuck through. OpTic Gaming cannot allow that same mistake to happen here in the second rotation if they want to try and blow this game out the water.
And it's worth, I mean, you say mistake, but at the same time, they dealt with it immediately. So there was a moment of opportunity, but they, well, snuffed it out quickly. Dashy trying to get this player out of the hill, picking which corner to shoot, and gets cut down on the way there. It is really just this P1 hill. Minnesota, they're having the favor on it, and it's because OpTic just doesn't want to give away the pressure. But that means as long as they're solid on the second hill, they will just, you know, bump up the lead even more.
It's such a delicate balance because you don't want to over-dedicate resources to try and break the first hill. Instead, you want to just stay back and make sure that you're solidifying a ton of time on P2. 144, 129. OpTic Gaming still the advantage as we rotate now to the second hill, where OpTic Gaming are ready and waiting for the Minnesota Røkkr.
And last time around, OpTic Gaming got, what, 50, 55 seconds on this hill. Right now, they're poised up, ready to go. A couple players from Minnesota, well, basically approaching from all angles. TJ trying to watch the cave cut. He's going to get chopped. Now it's just JCap and Slasher inside the hill. And, well, JCap the man to watch out over top of him, but everyone's going to fall. And he might be the next one in short order.
I tell you what, he did very, very well, though. Forces a team kill out there as well. Now the cavalry is here, the reinforcements of spawn. Bravo, first line of defense. Dash is shooting over the top of him. The nades come through. Minnesota's done a good job of just denying time. OpTic Gaming finally spring back into life. Jump inside the hill. JCap joined by TJ. TJ pushes off the hill, though. He's looking to try and find the kills. Take the fight to GodRx, which is successful. And again, a good hill here for OpTic Gaming.
And this is a very similar situation to what we saw last time around. It was TJ, though, that broke through and picked up, what, the 5 streak, the 3 PC got to make sure he could win this rotation. Right now, Minnesota, they have the full map spread, but TJ, he's the man. He's gone on the full flank. If he makes the play here, OpTic Gaming, they'll straight up just win this map.
He's doing it again, almost deja vu from that first rotation. This time, though, Azhir sniffs it out. So, Minnesota Røkkr should be able to get at least a little bit of time here in this hill. The question, how much time? If they hold the full 40, they would tie this game up, but you don't really expect them to do that. OpTic Gaming knocking on the door of the hard point. 30 seconds remain on the hill. 4 down, though, as Minnesota push forward and once again retake control. But if you remember what happened in the first rotation, chance, a few players spawned cave from OpTic Gaming, they pushed straight through. Minnesota were very slow on that rotation. They need to be quick here. And already you can see that same thing starting to happen. A huge 1v1 currently going on in cave. Number 8 versus number 2. TJ's going to win it. OpTic Gaming in the driving seat.
TJ going big, but he is the lone man. You actually see Minnesota, they're trying to put a lot of pressure, just trying to effectively flip spawns as soon as they can, thinking very long term. But TJ getting some nades out. The teammate support is going to be here. It is a 14-point game. Anyone can win it.
Oh, I tell you what, I'm not quite sure how Silly's won that fight. He dropped down well, and well, TJ knew it was coming. He didn't stop Silly from winning the fight, though. Now pressure over towards Quavo inside the hill. Has support of teammates shooting over the top, and OpTic Gaming hold for now. Still, though, Minnesota Røkkr spawning close. You cannot give up a full 60 here on this hill. It would be just devastating for Minnesota.
OpTic is 0-3 on this map, and they're poised up trying to get this first win. Doing a fantastic job on the hold. Dashing with the air, able to get 2. Give him the 3rd, and if there's a 4th nearby, you know he would take it.
And here's the problem. Minnesota know they can't push it. They have to rotate, which essentially means they need to play perfectly for the remainder of this game. OpTic Gaming will need about 6 points, I believe, from 2 hills. It should be impossible for Minnesota to win this game, Chance.
Should be impossible, and well, Quavo's trying to make sure that it stays that way. He's going to get shot. TJ, the next man, has JCap for the help, and OpTic Gaming, they can take their time. They can afford to give away 15, 20, however many seconds. As long as they get these spawns, they just need 5.
I was going to say, you can just rotate to the new hill if you really needed to. Minnesota, of course, cannot win here, but OpTic Gaming will, of course, push, and rightfully so. 5 seconds is all they need. TJ could find those seconds himself. Unfortunately, Trophy in the hill, so the nade won't do the work. Assault looking back towards the favorable spawn, which, bear in mind, if Minnesota do get this time, it might not even be a favorable spawn heading into the first hill of the last rotation.
We'll see how it plays out, because right now, OpTic Gaming, the feed is theirs. They're inside the point. 3 more, and it's theirs. Minnesota close to the hill, but not for long enough. OpTic Gaming on the board.
0-3 on that map, no more. They take map number 1 and their first win on that map as well. Tell you what, Chance, the series might be a little more spicy than we anticipated.
I mean, again, the expectation for OpTic is they're going to make improvements over time. There might be at least a small example there. We'll see if they can keep the ball rolling. And one of the biggest plays in my mind, it's got to be TJ. That just early rotation from P2 to P3 where he goes on that 5 streak, picks up that triple kill. Because keep in mind, OpTic Gaming, they chained that like 4 hills in a row where they just built up a nice little advantage. And as good as Minnesota did on that first hill, it was simply never enough. They were constantly clawing back from just being down, you know, 60, 70 points at different times. OpTic Gaming a little bit too strong.
Alex was double negative at one point. He turned the game around a little bit, finishes 21-28, but it's the other side. It's Dashy doing what Dashy does best, slaying 33 and 25. And speaking of Dashy, we'll take a look now at our Scuff Gaming play of the game. Dashy just picking up everyone on Minnesota Røkkr.
I mean, you know, sometimes the rotations are great. Sometimes just gunning people left and right is not too terrible either. But of course, it's just that one, honestly. The second kill on Assault just shouldn't happen, but sometimes it just does.
Dashy made a fantastic game, really leading the way, and this is exactly what got Røkkr saw. Not much, I'll be honest. He jumped out, and before he knew it, already Dashy had found the kill.
And again, it wasn't just the play as well. It was what, TJ on the rotation from P2 to P3, but even a couple hills after that, like just making sure that they hold the rotation over towards the east cave, or the west cave, whatever cave it is, Ben.
The giant cave,
if you want to call it that. But they had a really nice hold. You had JCap that we saw all the way on the back tank, just making sure that Minnesota, while they were trying to put those spawns, had no success, and it was just a massive run. OpTic went up.
And honestly, speaking of JCap, he was the player that sniffed out a seam on that first rotation from P1 to P2, so credit to him for finding that kill, because that game could have started off very, very differently. Here, though, there's a quick glance at our top 5 search and destroy by win percentage. Atlanta FaZe, no surprise to see them number 1. Huntsman will take number 2. Minnesota Røkkr 3rd on this list, 62.5%.
I'll take your word for it. All that says to me, though, is just how dominant FaZe really is. This has been, honestly, probably the biggest weakness we've seen from the Røkkr over time. Obviously, still respectable in the game mode. It's not like they've been piss poor, but we obviously, I mean, we watched them move to Seattle, right? You lose to Seattle and Search and Destroy, that throws up
We're instantly flying on the play.
A little question mark, but obviously Seattle have shown improvements in the game mode. But when I was looking at this series coming into it, I was outright expecting Minnesota to just win map number 1 on Cave.
Honestly,
it was map number 2 that I had concerns about, and that's where I was expecting OpTic to have the biggest window of opportunity. Obviously, now that they're up 1-0, in a pretty good spot.
Potential for maybe an upset here in round number 2. Of course, there's a quick glance at our bracket. Atlanta FaZe, they've already booked their ticket into Sunday. Who will join them? Will it be OpTic Gaming, or will it be Minnesota Røkkr? Minnesota falling 1-0 down. Not something they're too familiar with this season. But our team full of experience who could potentially turn it around.
Could potentially turn it around, but again, just a ton of Call of Duty left to play. All these storylines we've been trying to build up over time from all these different teams. I mean,
there's a lot. Yeah.
Take your pick. Some of them are just the hottest of hot takes, and of course, some of them, well, have been spot on from the start of the year. But for both these teams, just fighting for a lot. OpTic Gaming, just any respect in the league at all for Minnesota, trying to prove their worth it. Well, they can win one of these bad boys.
OpTic Gaming, they're fighting for their spot in the team. That's how it feels coming in. Of course, 0 CDL points to start the day. They get their first win, so they secure 10. And if that's anything to go off, honestly, it could be good to maybe find their second.
Good to find their second. some of these players, not only is the teams fighting, but some individuals fighting for their lives potentially as well. At least throughout the league, we've already seen, what, 9, 10 roster changes, different players getting swapped in and out at this point, something along those lines. So you see a lot of these teams not gun shy about making swaps at all if they're not happy with that early success.
That's because I think a fair amount of teams have been pretty unhappy with how successful they've been early on here at the Call of Duty League. But game number 2, about to get underway again. Search and destroy on Rammaza. A map which, when we look at it on paper at least, we think, all right, maybe this is where OpTic Gaming could take a map. Well, they already did that in game 1. Potential here to go 2-0 up. This is scary times to be Minnesota Røkkr fan.
And just to backtrack, just for a small moment, talking about all the teams that weren't gun-shy about making swaps, OpTic Gaming, obviously, were at the very bottom of the league, 0 points. Everyone was looking at them to make a change. Every single team that has made a change, it took the L first thing of the day. Every single team that made a change took a loss. They were a team that said, hey, let's stick it together. Let's see if we can make these improvements over time. And we don't know exactly how much it's going to pay off, but again, they're looking pretty good right now.
I mean, if they make it to Sunday, I think it's fair to say that those changes, or non-changes in their case, were beneficial.
Potentially so. But again, very long year.
Oh, yeah,
we're definitely in the hot take kind of situation right now, but that's okay.
We're approaching about a third way through the season. So for them, they definitely need to get some points as the LA crowd, of course, getting loud for their team. OpTic Gaming with the advantage in the series if they do go 2-0 up. I mean, feels like that's uncharted territory this year for OpTic Gaming.
Uncharted territory now is rushing over towards A. TJ with the double first blood. Give him the first 2.
It's like he heard you. You said TJ needs to step up, and I mean, so far, so good.
Stepped up this morning and just needed to make sure that he continues as well. He has done just that. Now the bomb, just all the pressure and mid-map in the world for OpTic. Question is, can they work their way to this B site? But not a difficult task. Just make sure you trade your kills.
Salt could spot TJ any second. Well, the nade should give him the information he needs. The hit marker got RX, though, wants to try and be a playmaker. You've got to be careful. Of course, your 2-man disadvantage, and now with Dead Silence, OpTic Gaming can make the play they want, which is plain and simple, rotate to A.
Yep, Silly was completely by himself. He'd have had to kill 3 just to kind of even things out, but he gets dropped. Assault and God RX doing their best 2v5 impression, but you can see the map spread. Quavo in the back, free kill for him. Then I have to imagine TJ might get a free kill for himself as well, as God RX might end up just moseying past his line of sight.
1v5, don't hold your breath. OpTic Gaming, find the kill. Close out round number 1. And it was that man, TJ, finding the double kill to open things up instantly. Give your 2-man advantage. You'll find the last kill as well. A great round from that young man.
And that's exactly what he needs to do. I mean, TJ has been one of the better search and destroy players for the past 3 years. Whenever he since he turned 18 and has been allowed to play Call of Duty in the league, he's been one of the better players. But of course, early struggles early on. It's what, a 2-5 overall record in search for OpTic. If there's one man you're looking at to step it up in search, he was the obvious answer.
I think he was. Search and destroy superstar. Ever since he picked up Call of Duty, but we haven't really seen it so far this year. Until maybe today. Great start from TJ, now OpTic Gaming on the defensive side. JCap will be the first line of defense, and he finds a first blood as well. Got RX shut down again. Advantage OpTic Gaming.
2 for 2 with first bloods in a scene. Not able to finish the kill at all. Doesn't feel comfortable committing. And of course, while he doesn't, well, the rest of his team become the cleanup crew. And that is just an all of a sudden 3v2. Slasher, though, might be in a power position to do some damage.
A quick flurry of trades gives Minnesota Røkkr the advantage. It's just a 1-man advantage. Now it will be 2. Slasher for the 1v3. He has the bomb cross, and that's unfortunate. If he finds that kill onto Silly, maybe this is doable. The nade will find the pick, though. Now the 1v2. We obviously talk about TJ's search and destroy abilities. Slasher, no stranger to clutching either. Oh my god, he's going to get the best timing I've ever seen. 1v1. Slasher versus Assault. The only thing Assault has going for him is he was able to pick up the bomb, and with 14 seconds left, if Slasher peeks this, I tell you what, it's very rare you're going to see a round played with such perfection, such patience from Slasher. A very well played 1v3. OpTic Gaming go 2-0 up.
Rammaza in 1v3s. Name a better duo.
Today, yeah.
Impressive stuff as well. Gets a player weak on the cross. Make sure you cook the nade perfectly to take him down. I think if he has a Semtex, probably doesn't get that kill. I don't know if there's a way. So nice that he had the frags. And then a little bit of Call of Duty timing at its finest. Because I think both of those players, I know one of them had Dead Silence pop, but things just work out perfectly for you. You get them lined up and you clutch the 1v1 in the end.
It feels like it's those few moments of luck that OpTic Gaming just haven't had to start the Call of Duty League. Well, they get a big slice of luck there, and of course a fantastic play from Slasher. That's not a great nade though. The first one was last round. Unfortunately for him, a bit of a waste of utility there.
First time, maybe 10% luck, 20% skill. That time, just no luck. No luck at all. Didn't have the nade, and Alex and Assault say, thank you very much. Finally, Minnesota able to get some first bloods on board. Now they just have to make sure they convert the round, technically trading these kills out just to keep the double man advantage. And OpTic Gaming, well, the man with the bomb just trapped in the B site.
Well, this is going to be a tough spot now for Quavo and JCap. Quavo will fall. JCap, I guess it's your turn. That's a 1v4. It's almost anything you can do, I can do better, Slasher. Hold on a second. GodRx just gifts JCap a free kill, and from a 1v4 to a 1v2, and bear in mind there's still a lot of time on the clock here, 30 seconds. You might not have seen JCap clutch many of these recently, but back in the day, he was no stranger to a clutch. Unfortunately, though, for him and OpTic Gaming, he gets shut down, and Minnesota Røkkr get their first round on the board.
Yeah, there's still just almost no way. Azhir knew where he was that entire time. Unless JCap sneaks out of the back and goes for the full wrap, it's just an incredibly difficult scenario. Again, even in the 1v3s, you either have to do you either have to destroy people or have timing go completely your way. And of course, JCap, quite no love there, but still 4-2. Solid performance thus far.
3 rounds in, you're looking at GodRx, currently 0-3, and he finds his first kill. He's been such an influential player for Minnesota Røkkr. As has Alex, currently sitting at 4-3. If you open the door, there's going to be a player right there. Unfortunately for him, he didn't spot him. Heard him, though. That's why they're trying to hunt him down, and there it is, Alex. First blood onto Quavo.
How rude, just punched the door open in his face, but Dashy's there for the eventual trade. But Silly has already gotten through enemy lines, and now, of course, you see JCap. He's got to get out of dodge, but this is a 2 versus 2. TJ and JCap, the 2 players that needed to step up for this team, going against Assault and Silly, the old duo.
But keep your eyes on Assault already. He said, nope, don't want any of this. He rotates early, but the problem is the flank is coming through. Assault pops his Dead Silence. He spots JCap, maybe a little too trigger happy, and JCap almost punishes him. TJ will have to cross as well. Assault is in a whole world of pain. He needs Silly to get there quickly, and unfortunately, Silly not in a position to do so. And with bomb down in a pretty horrible spot, OpTic Gaming LA should be good to clutch this. Silly not going to find the kill. OpTic Gaming go 3-1 up.
I mean, when you look at OpTic, name a better duo than TJ and JCap right now, Ben. They are on fire. They looked at the rings on the other side of the stage, and Assault and Silly and said, this is a different game. It's been a couple of years. Thank you very much. 3 rounds to 1.
5-2 from both TJ and JCap. A good start. Of course, a 1v3 from Slasher puts him at 4-2. But more importantly than the individual stats, it's the scoreboard, and it's favorable for OpTic Gaming. 3-1. Minnesota Røkkr have to turn things around. They've started this series pretty flat, if I'm honest.
Silly. Lone man up top gets a ton of damage down, no kills. And you hear the stuns getting called in, but I don't hear any nades.
There's your nade.
There's the nades. GodRx coming in the nick of time.
I was going to say, you cannot allow Slasher to live in that spot. GodRx punishes. Can GodRx find a second this round? It's Quavo. And some nice movement from GodRx, but still yet to find the kill. Quavo's in a horrible spot, and he actually found one, so credit to him. Azhir will fall. GodRx with the trade, and we find ourselves once again in a 4 versus 2. Minnesota with the advantage.
TJ's going to fall in short order. I was going to say a round is never over until TJ and Dashy are dead, but a 1v4 is the tallest of tasks.
Now, bear in mind, he has his Dead Silence. He's probably not going to use it straight away, but if he does make this maybe interesting into a 1v2, could see it popped.
I mean, there's just nothing. He has to plant the bomb in the next 20 seconds. The player, Silly right now, he hears him. He knows exactly where Dash is going to be coming from, and he's going to take him down. Silly heard that 30 seconds ago. You heard him across the map just about, so not a lot cooking there. Minnesota finally able to convert around. Even when they've been getting the first bloods, they have not had a ton of success.
They've had a fair amount of them
Even
so far.
when they get 3 versus 1s. Not a ton of success, Ben.
Yeah.
It's taken at least a 3-life advantage for Minnesota to be able to convert these rounds, but they do have 2 on board.
Still a close game, too, though. By no means OpTic Gaming too far gone, if you will. 3-2. As Minnesota fight back, they now go onto the attacking side. Seeing bomb carrier for Minnesota. What is going to be the game plan, though? Looks like bottom cafe is going to be the push. Now keep your eye on the bomb indicator. Number 6, again, Nassim. It's as if for him it's going to be an A push, while the rest of his teammates actually get full mid-map control. This is a fantastic round so far, but TJ could sniff it all out himself. The trade is enough, but I don't think we know Dashi's here. Dead Silence has been popped. Quavo to the rescue. Slasher also finds one, so a nice little push from Minnesota instantly has been stopped.
This is just so well played. Slasher for the challenge. He's waiting for Dashi to potentially get the trade. Doesn't come in fast enough, and you can see that player does have Dead Silence pop. So Azhir, well, he's quiet, but his teammate is dead, and so is he. OpTic Gaming has been a force on Rammaza, and quite a bit of credit to Dashi as well. Yeah. You saw when those 2 players were forcing their way through mid-map, and Dashi was only able to take down 1. He doesn't overcommit, trying to go for the trade for fear of losing the gunfight. He knew Quavo had it for free, and he made sure there's weight for his teammates to get the smart kills.
A little nervous towards the end, though, when his Dead Silence ran out. But either way,
it would have been a 3v1.
Kills are found by OpTic Gaming, and they, again, with the advantage here in game 2. 4-2 the lead. As we kick things off on board with Slasher. Already a 1v3 clutch to his name from this game. Stuns, the nades thrown out, but seems like a very patient round here from OpTic.
And looking at the minimap, I think this is the first time that the Røkkr have watched the cross towards the A site from the defensive side, so they should have the information that 2, if not 3 players have made their move over, but that just means they can be stagnant and wait for TJ to get the first blood, as he so often does.
5v4. What's the reaction here from OpTic Gaming? Well, the push over towards A is coming through. JCap, of course, uses his Dead Silence. Can he try and find an opening note at the A site? That's the question. Meanwhile, another couple of kills come through. TJ with the second this round makes it a 5 versus 2. Silly and GodRx the only ones up, and yes, Silly will find one, but it should be good for the bomb to go down as Dashi wins an important 1v1. GodRx now left for the 1v4. It's not gonna happen. OpTic Gaming seemingly plowing through Minnesota Røkkr.
Dashi remembers that gunfight. Silly laying down in roughly the same
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Much more prepared second time around. But of course, really the sword for me, it's been TJ. TJ's been on fire. He is, I mean, again, completely different player than what we've seen just a few weeks ago. Man, right now, 8-4, a couple first bloods to his name.
A lot of first bloods. A ton of first bloods.
I think 3, maybe just 2, something like that. More than anyone else.
That's for sure. As OpTic Gaming 1 round away from leading this series 2-0. And TJ, you can see the intent already. Dead Silence popped. He's flying. He's soaring towards Minnesota Røkkr. Take your time. Beautifully done. Assault will fall, and now Minnesota have to worry about TJ's flank. The problem is TJ's teammates are falling. We'll leave him and Slasher in a 2 versus 3. Alex, Silly, and GodRx still up. TJ will exhaust the rest of his Dead Silence. Try and get a little closer towards his teammate, and that door being open is extremely helpful.
The Røkkr should know that their flank is fine. Silly up top, waiting for the ladder climb, and Slasher, no way he could clutch a 1v3, right, Ben? It can't happen, not on a map like this. Who would let a 1v3 go through? Not the Røkkr, Ben.
Not this time.
Not in round 8. Maybe in round 4. But this one's a different one.
GodRx shuts him down. Minnesota survive. Still, the advantage 5-3 in favor of OpTic Gaming LA. They now go back onto the attacking side. Can they close it out here? TJ has been, again, fantastic at finding those first bloods. It was a slow and patient round from OpTic Gaming on their last attacking push. Looks as if, just looking off the minimap, it might be similar, but JCap with the first blood. Azhir goes down. Advantage OpTic Gaming LA already. We're only 12 seconds into the round.
Yeah, we watched OpTic throw those nades straight over top mid pretty much every single round. This time it finds its target. Still though, nice patient play. Just waiting for some picks to go through. You actually see the setup from OpTic on the bottom right side of the map, just waiting for someone to overextend, waiting for someone to make a mistake and try to flank. So far, Minnesota hasn't taken the bait, but with a man disadvantage, they might do it soon.
I mean, Silly is huge. If OpTic Gaming do decide to rotate over towards A, he has to find at least one. And I think JCap may have just spotted him. Call-out may come through to a teammate. If there's any utility left, it could be a free pick. Meanwhile, though, the assault coming in over towards the B site now. OpTic Gaming grouped, ready to push. Dead Silence and their nades available to use. Quavo shuts down Alex. The trades just aren't coming through for Minnesota. It's now a 5 versus 3. Full site control has been locked in. Minnesota may need a miracle, but Silly did find one. The trade comes through. Assault got RX now for a 2 versus 4. They make it the 2v3, but it may be short-lived. Got RX sniffed out. Assault 1v3 to keep Minnesota alive here in game 2.
Just got to kill the guy off bomb, but it's going to get planted, and the gunfight doesn't go his way. OpTic Gaming right now, a different animal than what we have seen so far this year, but the same beast that we have seen throughout their careers.
Starting to play like the team we expected them to, that's for sure. Pac-Man coach back onto the stage, and fist bumps eventually will come through as OpTic Gaming lead the series 2 maps to 0. Chance, this is not what I think anyone expected.
I mean, this is the OpTic we expected to see at the start of the year. Like, you go into a search and destroy, you're like, sure, Slasher, he can clutch 1v3s. It's not a problem. TJ, what can he do in search? Pretty much everything. All the first bloods you could ask for, leading the lobby in kills. This is what we've been waiting for, Ben.
It definitely is. Finally, OpTic Gaming have woken up, it feels. A 2-0 lead in the series. And that man was massively influential. A 1v3 clutch. You don't see them every day. We'll be back after this with game 3 of the series.
Call of Duty League is brought to you by Metro by T-Mobile. Rule your day with the #1 brand in prepaid.
We've already seen OpTic Gaming has been able to get up by 2 games in the series. They might be able to take it, but I wanted to put a spotlight on something that you may not have seen at home yet, and that is going to be our city circuit. So you can actually, at this tournament, be able to come up, sign up for a 2v2 gunfight tournament. $3,000 for first place. We have a bunch of people who have been playing throughout the entirety of the tournament. It's going to be going on all weekend, and we're going to be continuing to check out to see how these squads actually do, who gets to grab the money, and who gets to represent their home team. But speaking of the home team, let's see how they do in this series. I'm going to throw it back up to the casters.
Thank you so much, Rich. 2v2 gunfight tournament, you fancy our chances?
I don't play for that little money. $3,000. I don't get out of bed for anything less than 10K, Ben. No, I'm kidding. That'd be great. I would love to play in that tournament. That would be fantastic. That would be a ton of fun.
Maybe we could try and play. You never know. Anyway, moving on. Game 2. We want to take a look at our U.S. Army tactical play. I mean, you should already know what this is going to be. It's Slasher 1v3 clutch. You just don't really see clutches that often, apart from today, apparently. We've had a handful. It all started off with a great nade. Watch Silly cross, and you can imagine the read. He knows bombing's down, and then gets a little bit of good timing.
And the question for me is, do both of these players have that dead silence coming through? Obviously, well, yeah, it just happens so fast. You see one is blinking. I don't know if it's both, but they end up lining perfectly, and I think they actually did. It looked like both players were blinking, so he timed that perfectly. Yep. And then, of course, the key point of all the key points you could talk about this round, it's just the patience. He's expecting the instant challenge to come in after he waits 10, 12 seconds. He's like, well, if he hasn't taken the gunfight, the only other option is the man has to be planting the bomb. Read perfectly by Slasher. And I think 8, 9 rounds in, he had maybe 5 kills. That 1v3 were all the ones he really needed to get.
Pretty much secures a round, and more importantly for OpTic Gaming, LA secures a map. They now lead Minnesota Røkkr 2-0. In a series, I think a lot of people expect Minnesota to take maybe 3-0, maybe 3-1, but I don't think many would have had OpTic Gaming LA 2-0 up.
I mean, again, realistically, I think the only grievance, or not even grievance, the only credit I gave to OpTic, I was like, someone is going to have to take over every single game in order for them to get these wins, and that's not really been the case. Yes, TJ has played very, very well, but not take over, play well. He's been great, don't get me wrong, but in my mind, full team effort. I mean, again, we literally just watched Slasher clutch a 1v3. It's not like TJ is taking over the game, he's doing very well, but it has been everyone doing their job so far. Everyone's been doing their job. Of course, they have to keep it up. We've seen Minnesota do incredible things before. They are by no means out of this series. And you go into a Petrograd, OpTic Gaming 0-2, Minnesota 2-0.
Well, the narrative's starting to change, potentially, for OpTic Gaming LA. In the series 2-0. They close this out. They will be through to Sunday for some uncharted territory from that squad so far this season. Not uncharted by any means in terms of individual accomplishments when you look at that squad. But can they close it out in 3? We're underway, domination. And it makes sense to kick things off on board with Slasher. And man of the moment from game 2.
Man of the moment, man of some angles. Of course, while he's holding down angles and effectively killing nobody, Minnesota, they have 2 bodies on B. We talk about how difficult it is to win the opening break, capture the B flag, sometimes takes a minute, minute and a half. Minnesota said, nope, 20 seconds.
And bear in mind, they've done that on the favorable side as well. So that is a big, big start for Minnesota Røkkr.
I mean, we casted them earlier today on this map. They completely obliterated both opening breaks on this map from both sides.
Yes, they did.
They are now 3 for 3. And again, it can literally not get better than what they just did, of course. Now, though the dust has settled a little bit, OpTic Gaming, they're inside their base, so they're pushed back a little bit. But again, they get 2 or 3 kills right here. They'll be on the B flag in no time.
Well, it's Minnesota with the advantage here in game 3, but it's OpTic Gaming with the advantage in the series. I want to send it over to an Astro Gaming listening with OpTic Gaming LA.
Andy, go through. Pop. You got our excellent shot. He's on your line, In bottom liner, ace in the top liner. You want top. Hold on, bottom liner ace weak. He's going back to top. One can hit a right street, bro. Yo, what's mid lane? 2 mid lane. 2 are mid lane. Here. Yo, there's 2 blue dome. 2 blue dome. Yo, go in A, guys. Go in A. Multiple A.
Alex on A, 2.
I can get a nade. I can get nade on it.
2.
Got one.
Got both.
Nice.
Yo, I spawn first.
Might be another one.
Top diner. Ace him top diner.
Okay.
Yo, kill us all. Top diner, one shot.
I'm pushing him.
Are you pushing C? Yeah. I'm going down. How many back head? Got Rex laying on it.
I'm
trying to hold first. Yo, one guy's bushes.
Just go.
One guy's bushes. I'm gonna spawn first.
Not right street. Not the ambi. I'm front yellow.
Salt stair side first. Let me really beat.
I'm in there yellow, bro. I'm in there yellow.
Are you top diner?
Yeah, top diner.
I'm in there yellow.
Yellow roof.
Top yellow, top yellow. Got it.
Silly. One shot, one to ambi. We're not down much. Just hold on.
Silly's beat on weak.
Might push me far right. One's in top diner. Top diner.
2.
Minnesota Røkkr, they put the shaky start to the series behind them. So far building themselves a pretty sizable lead. 24 points as things stand, 47-22. BNC still controlled by them. A barely controlled by OpTic Gaming. And maybe Minnesota, you're more than happy with how things are playing out.
And if there was like a line of sight heat map that we had in Call of Duty, you would see Minnesota, they have just dominated the track side of things. Right where those railway cars are coming through, it's just Minnesota's been all over. Even that opportunity where OpTic Gaming gets a couple kills, finally gets towards that B site, they just have no clearance on the cross. And just what a beautiful window some of these players have been slaying out from.
I mean, there's still plenty of time left. 2 minutes, 15 seconds. Finally, OpTic Gaming get close to B. Neutralizing A is silly. Does he want to stay in cap? That's the question. Well, he's not even going to have a chance to. Because over the building, Quavo throws the nade, finds the kill, and that's 4 down. This a push for OpTic Gaming to try and get full control of the map. And maybe, actually, even a trip cap.
And this is big. I mean, they're down by, what, 30 points? They hold the trip cap even for a little bit. They're just going to chisel away at this lead. Minnesota are getting spawn trapped. Quavo's looking over top from one angle, and you got the Røkkr. It's 3 players trying to force their way through to blue, and they are getting slayed out, Ben.
This is very bad for Minnesota. Røkkr, all your hard work diminishing before your eyes, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Dashi with another off spawn. One player has snuck through behind enemy lines, but it doesn't matter. Dashi, a slaying machine. Why he didn't want to use a sub is beyond me. The man is going off here in game 3, and he's not done yet. Another one bites the dust. It's Alex's turn. Finally, Minnesota shut down Dashi, but the problem, they still have no control over the map. Look at the score from a 24-point game, 64-55, and still Minnesota not earning points.
I mean, not even 24. That is a 30-point lead shut down all the way to 6. And frankly, OpTic Gaming, the setup, the pressure, the gun skill that they have right now, they're starting to put more pressure towards A. They're not even happy with just the double cap to finish this half off. They wanted to go for A once again. Now it's TJ going to be taking his turn, and just look how far back the Røkkr have been trapped in their spawn. You talk about an absurd turnaround for OpTic LA.
And it almost seems like the trigger there for OpTic Gaming to push forward as soon as they get top blue control. When they're controlling C and B, when top blue is locked in, that's when they know to surge forward. That's when they know to go for that decap. And well, you might just see it here from Quavo. He finds the first, now pushing forward with just 27 seconds left. The decap would be nice, but OpTic Gaming already have found themselves the lead, 75-73, and with 20 seconds left. OpTic Gaming have just performed a miracle, really, in round 1 to turn that around.
I mean, hell, now you know why Slasher wanted to run the main AR.
Yes,
on a 5-3, he could just put his feet up and say, hey, all you guys, go run wild. Have a great day. Go do your thing. He's been hanging out on the map. And I will say, obviously, very close game. 3 points between the two teams. But again, from 30 points down to having the lead at the end of the half, what an important swing moment for OpTic Gaming. But of course, at the same time, Minnesota, 3 for 3 we've seen so far today on opening breaks in St. Petro. They're going to need one here.
That is so important because now they'll be on the unfavorable side here. So OpTic Gaming with the advantage going into the second half. But what a turnaround that was from OpTic Gaming as they look to potentially get a 3-0 here in the second to last game of the night. OpTic don't cap that home hill up and put a little bit pressure over towards B. As you said, for Minnesota, they're starting, or their startup, if you will. Their strategy is just so good, but Dashi almost found 3. Goodness me, GodRx shuts him down, and more importantly for Dashi, he stops that fantastic break-off that Minnesota have.
Minnesota, though, pressure's still on. They got a smoke on the B flag, and JCap isn't going out for the challenge just yet. And you can see Minnesota might just be able to get it. He's not going to make a move. He waits for the smoke to clear, but still there is another player on it. And there you go. He just lets it go through. Minnesota win the opening break.
OpTic Gaming, though, they've sent one player forward. That's Quavo. He's pushed over towards A. He's managed to neutralize it. It looks as if the cap will come through, but it's done enough to draw pressure and resources back toward the home hill. Dashi still wants to put pressure on that side of the map. But mind, that is now the only thing Minnesota Røkkr control.
And all's well that ends well. You managed to get the kills, slay him out, and this is the same spawn trap they had before. Now Minnesota trying to come out the other side. JCap and Slasher, though, they're holding it down.
Here we go. They have him completely pinned. Minnesota spawning P1, and OpTic Gaming know about it. This is how you execute a perfect trip cap on this map. Minnesota are trying to get out, but Dashi, first line of defense, he finds a double. Quavo is still there. So bear in mind, yes, you may have got out of the spawn trap, but you still have to try and cap a flag. flag when Quavo is in a perfect position to stop this. The lead is just getting out of control for Minnesota. They need to stop this bleeding. They need to cap a hill, but they're still unable to do so because Quavo's defending A.
He was getting bored. He was trying to figure out how long it was going to take him to get there. Finally, they get near the A flag, but they don't even have the kills yet, Ben.
Quavo's just spawned on the A flag. I can't believe it. Neither will Minnesota. He was able to find one, almost turn that into a worst-case situation for Minnesota Røkkr. 123-89, OpTic Gaming. I mean, they're blowing Minnesota out here.
I'm telling you, Ben, they called it squad spawning. They didn't tell you whose squad you're going to be spawning on top of. That is free and clear for OpTic Gaming, who have just ripped the lead out of control. Now it's the 30 points in their favor, and they are not slowing down. They're still putting all the pressure in the world over towards the safe flag. Dashi, he's waiting for the neutralization.
Brilliant patience from him. He's on the A flag. Will he be able to completely decap it? No, he won't. But Slasher was going on a tear. He'll find a couple of kills in quick succession. When 2.5 minutes to go, Minnesota Røkkr, you need to turn this around now. Not only do you need 2-1 flags, you need a trip cap. You're in that kind of territory now where just to get yourself back into this game, you have to alleviate that pressure quickly.
Well, they do have a couple players on B. The nade's going to force them off for a second, but with 2 players on it, they might be good to go. But now it's going to be annoying. Dashi, he's just going to be able to neutralize the A flag in Minnesota. They got B, but just for a moment. OpTic Gaming at least able to neutral it, but just to take the A flag right back, it is just such a big lead. What, 43 points, 2 minutes left. The triple cap necessary.
Dashi didn't even go for the capture on A. Instead, he just managed to neutralize it and push forward towards B. Wanted to assist his teammates on putting pressure back on that side. Instead, it's TJ off spawn that will do that. Minnesota will look to reclaim control of A. Quavo off spawn, though, puts some damage down over towards Alex. A minute 42 to go. The lead, 151 to 107. This is a different look OpTic Gaming. And OpTic Gaming, to be frank, we have not seen all season long.
You talk about needing some confidence going into a tournament. Getting a 3 over Minnesota will give you exactly that. They are poised up, ready to go. We are very close to if Minnesota doesn't get this triple cap in what next, what? 5 seconds, 10 seconds, just about. The game is going to go the way of OpTic. Minnesota, though, have a ton of pressure towards C, but you look at the spawns and OpTic, they'll be happy. They'll just go and take A right out of their hands. A domination performance coming in from OpTic LA.
I mean, you talk about fundamentals, right? In terms of domination, how to play it. We know how tricky the spawn system can be to control. What OpTic Gaming LA did to lock in a trip cap, not just once,
on both sides,
successfully twice, on both sides to that point, was incredible. And the time they were able to hold it as well, truly, truly impressive. And because of that, the score is not even close. And if we're honest, the series as well has felt kind of like that as well.
And they never made a roster change, man. It's the same roster that was 0-3 on Azhir Cave Hardpoint that got their first win. The same team that was 0-2 on St. Petro Domination that is going to get their first win. Different animal and the same beast, Ben. They're looking pretty good on day one.
Let me tell you, LA, I am sorry, because I did not think we were going to get this out of OpTic Gaming, and they have put on an absolute show in the second to last game of the night. It is too easy. I think GG well played, or maybe too easy is somewhere in the alphabet there. Chance, OpTic Gaming, dominate Minnesota Røkkr.
How good do you want them? That's about as good as it is going to get. Minnesota throughout the year have established themselves as an elite team. OpTic Gaming storming through and running them over.
That's the first time I've seen Pac-Man smiling like that. His coaching role has not been easy, that's for sure. But a win against Minnesota Røkkr 3-0 is going to give them a ton of confidence over towards Sunday. I know Maven said at our dinner it would take them in the grand final to really maybe change things perception-wise. Well, we might actually see that if they keep playing like that.
That is a very good start. I mean, again, the entire series. You couldn't ask for any more. The domination, massively outslaying your opponent. Again, the role switch, you got Dashi quite a bit more involved, a lot more slaying. You got Slasher.
Let me tell you.
His KD's going to end up looking real nice.
If Dashi ever complains about using a sub again, just show him that replay. Just show him that game 3. He has no right to complain because that was a fantastic performance from him.
And then even the game 2, again, running him over. TJ just had a field day on the map. All the first bloods you could ask for. Slasher with the 1v3 clutch. You draw it back to the hard point. There is 4 hills in a row on Azhir Cave that OpTic chained it as well. basically as you possibly could. Just a different look, a different team we're seeing from OpTic.
Of course, the Minnesota Røkkr, their tournament isn't over just yet, but they will still have another game still to come. That's going to be everything from myself and Chance for the day. We'll send it now to Lottie down on the main stage.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. This is your instant reaction presented by PlayStation. I am indeed with Quavo right now. Dude, what a difference from your first series here today to right now. Talk to me about how you guys just needed that win, really, didn't you? Just to get under your belt, and this was insane. This was a storm series.
Right. A lot of people talk about the potential of our team, and I always felt like it was that one series, like, holding our potential in. Like, we just needed to get that one series out the way, and a reverse sweep was, like, the perfect way to get our momentum and our hype up, and I knew it would carry on to the next series.
Indeed. And Quavo, talk to me. What was happening in your team? Was it a mental thing that was really stopping you for the first part of the season? What was happening with your team behind the scenes that we couldn't see?
It was never a mental thing. It was more of doing what we did in practice, doing what we talked about in practice in our matches. We would just forget about it and not do it in matches, and it would cost us. So during the break, we kind of just focused on listening in practice, focusing on stuff we needed to fix, and make sure we did it in matches.
Do you guys think you're going to be going all the way in this home series? Because I think there's magic in the air right now. It's something about being at a home series in front of your home crowd. Are you guys going to be right there at the finish?
I'm definitely confident. We got to see how we match up versus Atlanta. Obviously, they're the team to beat. But I'm really confident right now. We can obviously go all the way. But we'll see how we do tomorrow.
I've got to quickly ask you, right, this is a personal question for me, but where did you get your headband? Because I absolutely love it.
I get all my stuff from Walmart, actually. So it's just like I used to order them, but
This dude is iconic. Iconic, people. I love it. Thank you so much, Quavo, and congratulations. Second one. 20 points on the board, pal. Let's keep it rolling. Let's keep it rolling. Thank you so much. We're going to head to a quick break right now. We've got one game for the rest of our night to go with this Saturday. This is the Call of Duty League. We'll be back after the break.